It's a great honor for me to be here with Darin Sallam, the director of Farha. It's a movie about a girl in Palestine before the Nakba. It's the second screening to take place in Cyprus. There was one screening that took place in Nicosia, and this is the second screening which is taking place in Larnaca. Welcome to Cyprus, and thank you very much for sitting down for this short interview with me.
Thank you for having me, and it's a pleasure to be here and in the second screening because I remember very well in the world premiere of Farha. It was in Toronto International Film Festival, and I remember one of the audience told me, I'm from Cyprus, and this film made me cry. And I promised her that I hopefully will screen the film in Cyprus and I'll be with the people. So I'm glad to be here, and hopefully it will be a successful screening.
This is it, because Cyprus has a similar story. It's not the same, but it is similar because people have been chucked out of their houses in Cyprus as well. We have displaced people and people who are refugees as well on both sides of the divide. Both Turkish Cypriots and Greek Cypriots have lost their homes because of an invasion that happened by Turkey in Cyprus. So it's very relevant to the people here as well. But I would like to go back to when Farha was created, because some people might think this is a new movie. It isn't. It first screened in 2021, if I'm not mistaken?
Yes.
Okay.
That's right.
Is it based on a true story?
It is based on a true story and real character, and true events. The real character's name is Radiyya. Mm-hmm. It's always important to me to mention her name because I always say they're not numbers, they're human beings. And Radiyya is not a number, and Farha is only one of millions of Palestinians that suffered and are suffering still until today in Palestine. So it is based on a real story, and my mother met the real character. And I heard the story since I was a child, and it stayed with me until I grew up and became a filmmaker. And then when I kept thinking of this girl, I realized that I have this urge. I need to share her story with the world, and I have this responsibility somehow to share this story with everyone. And this is why I found myself writing the script of Farha.
برجع يابا خليك جوا يابا لا تخافي.
At the same time, when Farha was nominated to represent Jordan at the Oscars race, mm-hmm. But also it was at the same time when it was supposed to be on Netflix, or it was about to be on Netflix 2 days before streaming Farha on Netflix. So they tried so hard, some Israeli officials and media and a lot of individuals. It was a very organized campaign from the government, the Israeli government, to put the film down and to remove it from Netflix, but they didn't succeed, and the film is still there. So I think I always say that the truth always wins, and this is what happened with Farha. They said it's a big lie, and the Nakba never happened, and I mean, everyone is watching the film, is learning about the film, about the truth, and they couldn't take it down because it's a very it's a drop in an ocean of what happened back then and what's happening today.
And unfortunately, we're watching another Nakba happen live streaming on our phones. Let's go to Darin though now.
It's another Nakba. You can call it a second Nakba, but also you can say that the Nakba never stopped, never ended. It started in 1948 and it's ongoing every day since 1948 until today. But the only thing is Now it's like on a bigger scale with continuous massacres and genocide, and it's on social media. That's the difference. But the oppression, the killing, the stealing of homes is happening every day since 1948.
Yeah. Where were you born?
I was born in Kuwait.
Yeah.
Born and raised in Kuwait.
Were your parents or grandparents? I suppose they were Nakba survivors, yeah?
My father is a Nakba survivor.
Okay.
And he left with my grandparents and my family in 1948 to Jordan. Mm-hmm. And from Jordan, when he was 16, 17, he moved to Kuwait to work, and I was born there. And then I came back to Jordan when I was also 16, 17, and I stayed there until today. And yeah, I mean, Jordan is also is home to me, because I always say a place where I can create and make films and create art is home.
How important is culture and your medium, which is telling stories, movie making, as a voice for the Palestinian people, and not just for the Palestinian people, but for people who are fighting injustice?
It's like cinema is extremely powerful. It's a powerful tool, and it could be, even nowadays with everything that's happening, it could be used as a weapon. Mm-hmm. Because it's, I mean, it's what happened with Farha is a proof. Mm-hmm. I didn't know how important it is until I saw the effect of Farha. Mm-hmm. Cinema can create change and can, because I remember somebody told me from the audience, and I love this sentence very much, that when you read something, an information, it's different when you see something and when you feel it. When you watch a film and feel something and relate to the character, this stays with you forever.
Yeah.
And this is what I saw in front of my eyes, people leaving the theater with their perspective changed and telling me, I regret not supporting Palestine before. I didn't know this. So like cinema could be an educational tool and an eye-opener for people to learn and feel and understand. But also it depends on the audience. Some people didn't know, and they don't know, and films help them. And some people have their hearts and minds closed.
Yeah.
They don't want to listen or feel or anything.
In the same way that the movie industry has been used to dehumanize Palestinians.
Of course.
Because in a lot of the movies, not just Palestinians, but the Muslim world, it's always the good American guy against the Muslim terrorists. Terrorists are always Muslims. In most movies, they will be wearing a keffiyeh around their head and they are terrorists. And movies have been used to dehumanize Palestinians, especially. And through social media now, which is another media form,
another important tool.
Suddenly, people are seeing that they are humans,
of course,
and relating to them.
And this is, unfortunately, I used to say this, that with Farha, I want the world to see Palestinians as human beings, not as numbers, because this is how the world is used to see us. And unfortunately, I said that, and I was trying to make this very intimate, emotional film from a child's point of view, because I wanted the world to see this and feel with this girl. But now this aggression, I don't want to call it a war. It's not a war.
No, if it was a war, it would mean that they would be equal. They'd have bombs and airplanes and rockets. The Palestinians obviously don't.
Yeah, but I wanted to say that what's happening now, the aggression also has changed us and changed the world. Now I feel differently. I feel that I don't want to prove anything to anyone. I don't care how the world see us. Really, now I see things differently. I don't really care. I just care about this genocide to stop and about my people and these children to to live and this, like to have a normal life. And this is, to me, is what I care about. I don't care about how they think of us, how they, not anymore.
A lot of people said that, a lot of people, especially the genocidal government that is in place now, and over the years actually, all Israeli governments, it's not most, all Israeli governments had in mind that when the older people died, that they would, the younger generation would, and especially the ones that have been displaced either to Jordan, Kuwait, Syria. Some people came to Cyprus. I know a lot of Palestinians that came after the Nakba in 1948 to Cyprus, or went to America, the United States, Australia, England, that the next generation of Palestinians that were born abroad would forget about Palestine because they were not living in Palestine. Facts on the ground, though, prove them wrong.
Actually, it's a quote, the old will die and the young will forget.
Yeah.
And actually, when I used to pitch Farha before shooting, I used to say, the old will die, but the young will remember with a film like Farha. Because it was important to me it was two things I had in mind, actually. One of them is to show the West, the world, the truth that they don't know, and to tell the Nakba survivors, and my father is one of them, that we didn't forget about your pain, and we will never forget. I always had this fear of losing these people that witnessed the Nakba survivors. So I wanted to do something for them. So we did a screening of Farha in a refugee camp in Jordan. And the first thing I told them before we screened the film to these Nakba survivors is that I made this film for two reasons. The first one is to show the West the truth, the beginning of what we're witnessing today in Palestine, the start of the occupation and the ethnic cleansing and everything that you're seeing today. But the second reason is you, to tell you that we never forgot about you and about your pain. Many people told me, Darin, you're young, this will end your career. And I said, if I don't do this, it will be very easy for me in the future to compromise and to say, I have to stay loyal to this story and to this pain, or else I will lose respect for myself and I will be just a muppet.
Yeah. So Farha has got, if I'm not mistaken, 3 awards and 6 nominations, or is it more?
More.
Okay, I stayed back.
Yeah.
How many awards and how many nominations?
Actually, I can't remember.
Yeah.
How many awards?
Yeah.
They're like a good number.
A good number of awards. So on an international level.
I mean, it got a historic win for Jordan. It won the APSA Awards, Best Youth Film, which is a historic win for Jordan and for me as a Jordanian filmmaker. It's considered as the Asian Oscar. So that was a great achievement for me and the whole team. There are other important awards, but I really I don't think I should mention. If I forget something, it will be
yeah. And it was filmed in Jordan. It wasn't filmed in Palestine.
It was filmed in Jordan. Jordan, the geography between Jordan and Palestine is very similar.
Like in Cyprus. What is after Farha?
Everyone is asking me this question. It's been stressful. So I was asked if I think of making Farha 2. And I found myself answering naturally that I would make this happen only if it's called Farha's Return. And I hope that it would be inspired by real events when Palestine is free and when the Palestinians are returning to Palestine.
It's been 3 years. I mean, when did you film Farha in
2019.
2019.
But then...
so it was pre-COVID and there was COVID in 2020. And
exactly. So it was delayed because of COVID and everything was closed. But when I was able to travel, I traveled to Sweden for editing and then Lebanon for sound. But it took me some time. So it was out in 2021. It was on Netflix in 2022. But it kept touring festivals and having screenings around the world. And I felt somehow, especially after Gaza and what's happening now, not only Gaza, also the West Bank, I felt the responsibility because I was at some point taking a break. I wanted to work on my new film.
Do you think it has more appeal now?
Actually,
people watch it more or are more willing because of what is happening in Gaza and the West Bank? No?
Not really. Because I'm really grateful for this, actually, because since the film was out, it was like, it became very popular on Netflix and trendy. And then even in the US, which is amazing because they need to see this film. But also it kept touring. This never stopped. Alhamdulillah. I mean, I'm very grateful for this. But then after the events, we did for like maybe a month or two, free screenings around the world, for everyone. It was screened in like an outdoor, in the streets. Now, students in the US universities in the encampment, the ones
encampments,
they're screening the film as well in different universities. And so this never stopped. But after the events, usually a film take like a year or two maximum touring festivals, and then it's like in a VOD platform. And when it's on Netflix or a VOD platform, it's there for a while. People are not interested to screen it again,
in a big screen. But now they're screening it.
Yes, it's happening.
Okay.
Because of like for educational reasons, again, to create awareness about the root cause of what's happening today. But also, I think people need to watch something about Palestine together in a collective way.
Yeah. I have a last question. It's more personal. How easy is it? And that's a question that I would have to ask myself as well, but I'm not Palestinian. To go on with your life in another country when you know that your people are in Gaza, and especially in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, and suffering?
That's the answer of this is it's why I'm in this place in my life right now, because to be honest, I've been feeling, I don't wanna, I think it's we're all in this place. What a question. I think we will never be back to normal, because their lives will not be back to normal. They will, like, after this stops, these people will never be okay. You know, I think I am officially in real bad depression. Mm-hmm. But I think it's the case for everyone else that I know, at least. This is why I can't write. I can't go back to like do the normal things that I usually do. I feel I have many emotions and feelings. I can't even find the words.
Thank you so much for this interview.
Thank you for everything that you
did. I just want to point out there that I don't think the world, at least the people that have a conscience and the people that have empathy, and the people that realize that what is happening at this moment in Palestine, in Gaza, especially in Gaza, but also in the West Bank, it affects all of us, because if they can do this to Palestine, they can do this to anybody. And this is what we must realize. And I know that I will never be the same after watching what is happening in Palestine. I cannot go back to who I was before. And I can only imagine what you're going through, because I'm not even Palestinian, but I'm human.
Of course. So
I can't even begin to imagine what your feelings are like if I can't go back to my life as it was before. So I'm ever so grateful for meeting you, and grateful for having this time and space to speak to you.
I'm very grateful, and I mean, grateful for everything that you do and people like you are doing, because we need this. Like, as I was telling you before, the Palestinian cause is not a cause for the Palestinians only. It's for all human beings. And so thank you for everything that you're doing, and hopefully we will see the Gazans and the Palestinians having better days, inshallah.